Keir Starmer as a figure, like, we've talked about, okay, we've got the checklist on him. Mom was a nurse. Dad was a tool maker.
Parents love donkeys.
Yeah.
My mum and dad love donkeys. He's pathetic. He's pathetic.
But like, there is something, I mean, like, what you've captured in your account isn't like, I would normally not give this guy much of any thought at all, but like, there's something so kind of fascinatingly bland and empty about him. Like how would you describe Keir Starmer to someone who is not familiar with either British politics or him as a personality or lack thereof?
He is the world's most repulsive freak. He can't finish a sentence. He's got an incomprehensible history. A completely incomprehensible history with donkeys and tool makers, and he did violin lessons with Fatboy Slim.
Right about now, the funk soul brother.
He always talks about that. And then, obviously, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, he probably, got tapped on the shoulder at Oxford or something, becomes a chief prosecutor, and he's just the most shady guy in the world. And I think my problem with Keir Starmer is that there is such concerted effort by people like his biographer Tom Baldwin to talk about what an ordinary bloke he is. Tom Baldwin says he's an ordinary bloke, but he's doing an extraordinary job. And I mean, no part of that sentence is correct. But he's not an ordinary bloke. He's a thin-skinned, vindictive little creep who has very clearly just been, shagging literally anything and anyone for God knows how long. And every time that you see him try to be normal or nice or smile, you can just see that this is coated in artifice. It's not real. And then when you see him be pissed off and he gets all adenoidal and stern and Mr. Speaker, then you start to see who this man is. He thinks the sun shines out of his arse, I think. And a part of that is because he's spent 20 years with all of the media saying that this is the most smart, gorgeous genius in the world, the most singularly brilliant legal mind.
He's grotesque to look at. Where does this thing come that he's good looking? Like that to me, you want to talk about gaslighting? That to me is the essential fact about him is that he is he's just unpleasant to look at. But I keep reading these accounts of him about like what a hot dad he is.
Yeah. Here's why people think Keir is the new Downing Street daddy. This is a Guardian headline. Sweet, sincere, and humanising. Could Keir Starmer's oh-so-serious student pictures win over voters? It's like, is politics on easy mode? I don't understand how they are trying to depict him as like attractive in any way. Obviously, this has been going on for some years now.
Is he a spook? Is that what accounts for this like fawning media coverage? Because I think back to what you said about how like Brexit was sort of the presage for sort of a preview of Trump, and that Keir Starmer like could possibly be like if our sort of Anglo heritage sort of rhymes with one another, could be like sort of a preview of Kamala Tim Walz. But there's something about like these. Yeah, like Felix, like you said, they're not quite caretaker presidents, but presidents that come in and don't really like come in on a promise of explicitly not promising you anything or not doing anything for you. You just have to vote for them. So like,
he's not a spook,
the hopes of people have to be transmuted into this idea that they're all like hot and fun and cool and fuckable and like
like that famous tweet where it's like, I hope Joe's cream pieing Jill tonight. I hope that Joe Biden and Jill are having another baby at 79 years old.
And we get that about Keir all the time, they try to depict him as like a daddy figure, like stern, taciturn, but ultimately gorgeous. And it doesn't wash at all.
I don't. But like another element to Keir's career that I was not aware of and became familiar with thanks to your account. Could you elucidate for our readers his failure to prosecute Jimmy Savile when he had the chance to? And look, in one way, nobody prosecuted Jimmy Savile, but like, to what extent did this case cross his desk as a prosecutor?
Right. This is a something that has driven me mad for many years. Boris Johnson mentioned this at one point, and the UK media closed ranks. Even Rishi Sunak, at the time Chancellor, was denouncing it a despicable smear to say that Keir Starmer didn't prosecute Jimmy Savile. But he was the director of public prosecutions, right? And Surrey police, who were investigating historical sexual abuse allegations against Jimmy Savile, who had interviewed Jimmy Savile, sent their report to his fucking private office on, I think, the 22nd of January 2009, right? But Keir Starmer says he never heard about it. He wasn't the reviewing lawyer in charge of the decision not to prosecute one of the most famous criminals in the history of Britain, doing an unfathomable crime in size, in scope, in damage. He says he just didn't know about it. And I think what drives me most mad about it is if you search even Keir Starmer CPS, Crown Prosecution Service, if you search Keir Starmer, Director of Public Prosecutions, all of the results, it doesn't have to have the word Savile in it. All of the results are just, Keir Starmer didn't know fuck all about Jimmy Savile in 2009. Well, I'm sure he didn't. But it annoys me that you're not allowed to say that he didn't prosecute Jimmy Savile. He didn't. He's the only person who could have. The only person. And he didn't. But even saying that is considered a smear on his name, and that gives you an idea of the kind of people that we have in the British media. All of these people wanted Keir Starmer to get into government, in part because, whatever, they aesthetically don't like the way that the Tories conduct themselves. But also, I think they're expecting a little bit of a scratched back in return.